Good time of day, guys! My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. Last episode, we started Yoigoshi as we met our new protagonists, Arakawa, who I don't care for very much, and Miyuki, who's totally an undercover cop. So, yeah, and we're in Hinamizawa, and there was a quote-unquote group suicide of 3 people in a car full of carbon monoxide. So that's very cool. And now we have a tip to read that I didn't feel like reading at the end of last episode, so let's do this. To Hinamizawa. For some reason, I felt like this arc wouldn't have any tips, but oh well. Mishima! Yo, I thought you were redacted. You know what? I'll use that voice. Fuck it. There he is. Hey, Arakawa-chan. Yes? I looked up from the evening tabloid I had picked up from the convenience store and turned back. The voice came from a colleague of mine, Mishima, in the sports department. Oh, not Art. Hey, Mishima-san. Glad you could make it. Huh? Weren't you supposed to be in Seattle all week? Yes, that was the plan. But I actually forgot to update my passport. So they ended up sending Yoshimura instead. Huh? Yoshimura? His English is not that great. Will he be alright? Well, nothing to worry about. I told him to record all of his interviews. And then we can go over the transcripts together here. I actually forget if this is the same voice I used for him. But, this is the voice I would use now. So, yay. I wonder if that'll be okay. I was actually more concerned about Yoshimura's interviewing ability than his language skills. If he just goes through the list of questions top to bottom, we won't get to hear any interesting material. Although, with sports articles, you can get a decent amount of traction just from dropping the names and photos of famous players. I haven't yet become desperate enough to request a position like that, but I am envious. By the way, I'll be in Osaka tomorrow. Kameda is getting close to his 200th win, and I'd like to ask about it. Are you fucking joking? Well, he wasn't from Okinomiya, right? So he would still be alive, wouldn't he? Kameda. Huh. The blazing fastball pitcher of tragedy is still perfecting his art. He tends to fall apart if his control gives out, so it gives me the chills just watching him. Anyway, I saw this month's Ghostly Village Special Edition. It was packed with all kinds of long-lost topics, like that Hinamizawa village. Long-lost topics? That was practically my life's work. Anyway, this guy was the one who went through my numerous occult materials and boiled them down to the most interesting topics. Plus, he contributed some topics he found on the net from time to time, even some material I didn't know myself. So there's no point feeling worn out by good news now. It was back when I was in school, probably 20 years ago. It was a major uproar at the time. The Great Hinamizawa Disaster. I saw it on TV, too. Weird to think that the 2000s are 20 years ago now. It's reasonable to say that entire decade was 20 years ago, right? Because even if, 2009 was 15 years ago, I don't care. Close enough, it rounds up. In 1983, poisonous volcanic gas emerged from a swamp near a remote village in the Chubu district, killing over 2,000 villagers overnight, and it came to be known as the Great Hinamizawa Disaster. Yep, we already know this. Not only was that an incredible shock, but one after another, former residents of Hinamizawa began dying in strange incidents. People committing murder-suicides against their entire families. People committing murder-suicides against strangers and acquaintances. In all cases, the people committing these heinous acts were otherwise normal people living peaceful lives. And so, discrimination against people from Hinamizawa developed into a serious social conflict, significant enough that the national government had to step in. And all the people involved in those incidents said the exact same thing. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. And they weren't all just reckless, baseless rumors spread by total strangers. In fact, my father also. His father's gonna be important at some point, right? I don't know if it's actually Akasaka or some other guy, but they're gonna be important, right? Eerie, huh? Such an odd story. But unlike you, I don't believe in ghosts. Big words to be telling an occult writer. But in recent years, people on the net have been posting a lot of theories that have nothing to do with curses. For example, the gas disaster was a government conspiracy, very American way of putting it. And the village was blockaded to conceal an alien invasion. Oh, well that's a little less American. At least American conspiracy theories are somewhat grounded. Not one of them had any concrete evidence, baseless speculation. But even so, that didn't stop the occult rumors regarding Hinamizawa from piling up. Some of them made you immediately shout, "No way," but others sounded believable. As a supporter of occult explanations, I feel I ought to try to verify it. Wow. Verify it? No way. You? There it was, at last. Then Mishima-san noticed the knapsack lying at the base of my desk and gave me an uneasy look. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. Anyway, I figured I'd go to see if I can find anything out. So, I'm heading to Hinamizawa tomorrow. What? Tomorrow? I understood why Mishima-san was so surprised. I was planning to head there in June to work on my article, so he must have immediately thought, that's dangerous. The disaster happened in June. Wait a minute! You're really telling me you're going? Don't you know what month it is? Don't blame me if something happens to you! What are you talking about? You just said you don't believe in ghosts, Mishima-san. This is unlike you. Besides, as an occult writer seeking new stories, doesn't it make sense to go where something is likely to happen? Well, I suppose that's true. Anyway, I've gotten the editor-in-chief's approval, and my expenses will be covered. Still, in the unlikely event that I end up getting demoned away and never returned, I told him he should make a story out of it. Not funny. Whoops. Guess it's already time. I've got a lot of preparations to do for tomorrow, so I'm heading out for today. Arakawa-chan! Mishima-san waved his arms in a panic as he watched me head out of the editorial department. Although the gas disaster killed over 2,000 villagers, it was the over 20-year blockade of Hinamizawa village that turned it into a ghost town. It was just as Mishima-san said. I honestly had my doubts that any ghosts would actually appear. But there may still be things worth investigating about this ghost town. And there might even be some paranormal phenomenon at play that I simply couldn't grasp using the data I've gathered thus far. Well, there's no way to know what may happen. After all, only the gods may know that. Come to think of it, I did hear that demons lived in Hinamizawa in ancient times. With that in mind, nothing else would surprise me. The next moment, the cell phone in the back pocket of my jeans started to ring. When I looked at the screen, I found the call was from the editor-in-chief of the Weekly 7, who was out all day today. That's unusual. The editor-in-chief doesn't normally contact me directly. Yes? Hello? Huh? A travel companion? Well, I guess it's alright. I see. Okay. So it was genuinely out of the blue that Miyuki went with him. I see, I see. I feel like there's gonna be some greater connection between these two. I feel like both of their fathers are probably really important, so we'll see, I guess. I feel like they're people we know, because the thing is, they say Arakawa's is, just some... He was some... They say a journalist or a photographer. So, I was saying Akasaka, but it's probably actually, Tomatake. But then the last name isn't the same. And I get the feeling Miyuki's father probably isn't someone we know either, because, again, the last name isn't the same. But, I don't know, I feel like there's something important, at least with Arakawa's father. They also brought up Miyuki's, though. So, I don't know, there's gonna be something important there, I guess, I don't know. After walking down the heavily forested road for a while, Miyuki-chan suddenly came to a halt. What's wrong? She remained silent and answered my question by pointing forward. Another car? A single car was parked at the base of the stone steps leading up to the shrine. And the car didn't look local. The license plate had the name Nerima written on it, so the car probably belonged to someone who came here from that part of Tokyo. What is this? Again? That's impossible! I started to wonder if we'd find another body inside, but I kept those thoughts to myself. I feared that speaking those words would cause it to become reality. I'll take a quick look. Okay, I'll come too. For a moment, the faces of those people quickly flashed through my mind. Why are they quoted like that? Those three peaceful-looking men and women who passed away in their sleep. I don't want to see something like that again. I said a silent prayer before cautiously peering inside the parked car. Please, let there be no corpses inside. I pointed my flashlight inside, but nobody was in there. Thank goodness, it's empty. But isn't it strange that nobody's inside? Huh? Though I was smiling to myself, Miyuki-chan turned to me with a stern look on her face. Then I pointed my light all around the car, and even underneath. But there were no signs of human presence. Hey, Miyuki-chan, why is it strange for nobody to be inside? I have a feeling this car drove here today. And if that's the case, then where did the driver go? Ah. Take a look. There are tire tracks. On Miyuki-chan's suggestion, I turned my flashlight toward the ground. Indeed, the fresh-looking tracks along the muddy ground led straight to the tires. The rain began in the evening, so these tracks must have been created sometime after that. I wonder if the car has an ordinary plate number, but I don't have the means to verify that. Huh? Miyuki-chan, what was that just now? Oh, it's nothing. Yeah, she's totally a cop. Miyuki-chan brushed my Miyuki-chan brushed my question aside, then focused her flashlight inside the car once more. Okay. We carefully examined every corner of the driver and passenger seats with our flashlights, then moved on to the back seat. The back seat had a few magazines and CD cases strewn about, but nothing particularly interesting. Hey, Miyuki-chan, what were you talking about a moment ago? It's nothing important. Please, don't worry about it. As she said that, Miyuki-chan ran her gaze up and down the car's interior. Despite saying it was nothing important, she continued painstakingly examining the car. We've already established that there are no people here, so what is she searching for now? Feeling it awkward to stand idly by, I continued to check the inside of the car as well. However, I couldn't find anything particularly unusual. A keychain with a cutesy mascot character was dangling in the driver's seat. Perhaps the driver is a woman? That's presumptuous. Although it's pretty common for men to carry cute little accessories like that these days. No need to jump to conclusions. True! Looks like there's nothing out of the ordinary. So, shall we keep moving? Oh, sure. Following Miyuki-chan's suggestion, I stepped away from the car. Anyway, where are we now? Right now, we're in front of the Furude Shrine. Here, take a look at this. Miyuki-chan pulled out a map that I didn't even notice her bring, then spread it out and pointed the flashlight while it's raining. She slid her finger across the map, then stopped at a specific point. Take a look at those stone steps straight ahead. Those stairs lead directly to the shrine. So yeah, the only reason she knows the layout of the village this well is because she's an undercover cop and they studied it. Stairs? I turned my gaze upward as she said that, and even in the dark I could clearly make out the steep staircase climbing uphill. But even though I was certain there'd be a shrine gate at the top, I couldn't see it from here. Do we really need to climb that? Just how many steps are there? Anyway, climbing them is our only option. Let's get going, Ryunosuke-san. Right. Miyuki-chan walked forward at a decent pace, then began ascending the stone steps. I ran after her, skipping steps to catch up. Ugh! However, the poor visibility and weak footing caused me to fall down to my hands and knees. Are you alright? Please be careful, it's slippery. Right, my mistake. Miyuki-chan came down the stone steps to where I'd stumbled with an umbrella in hand. I couldn't see my feet very well. The rain had made the steps slick, and some of the steps were even covered in a slippery layer of moss. But despite all that, Miyuki-chan was able to calmly ascend the steps. The constant rainfall left our bodies completely soaked. Achoo! Are you alright? It is getting pretty cold, isn't it? We better hurry. I started to feel ashamed of myself. Wasn't I the leader of this expedition? Miyuki-chan, are you alright? Aren't you cold? I'm fine. Ryunosuke-san, there's a whole lot of moss right here. Be careful not to lose your footing. Roger. Whoa. My feet slipped just like earlier, right as I was in the middle of answering. Oh. So it was a more panicked whoa. Too bad. On the other hand, Miyuki-chan maintained a respectable pace, like she was walking a familiar path. I glanced down at her feet and noticed she was wearing hiking boots. Clearly, she made appropriate preparations for a mountain excursion. I'd expect no less from someone with plenty of experience in Girl Scouts. Oh. After climbing several dozen steps, I was able to see the shrine gate at the top of the stairs. It may have looked quite dignified in the old days, but the frame was miserably dilapidated after years of neglect and weather exposure. It's not going to break apart and collapse or something, is it? I timidly looked up at the shrine gate as I continued walking forward. And the next moment... plop. I heard a single footstep from behind my back. It is interesting that they're doing this. Because... yeah, no, this is actually really weird, isn't it? Because if this is a fragment where the Great Hinamizawa disaster happened, and everyone died, and this is also an arc that they intend you to read before Minagiroshi, which means you wouldn't know about Hanyu yet, because this is obviously Hanyu, but she's supposed to follow Rika into new fragments. So she shouldn't be here anymore, right? So why is she here? Or is this not her? I wouldn't imagine it'd be like fucking Tamura or some shit, right? I guess it's possible, but I don't imagine she'd create the same phenomena as Hanyu. That'd be really weird. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Since this is supposed to be before Minagiroshi and therefore also long before Kamikaze Mashi, they're probably not going to tell us. And it's just supposed to be something you intuit from it, I guess. I don't know. I heard a single footstep from behind my back. I turned back, but nobody was there. I mean, I think it's clearly supposed to be Hanyu, but why? Something wrong? No, it's nothing. Miyuki-chan had already passed through the gate, but she must have noticed that I stopped moving. She looked back and asked about it, but I brushed her off with a vague answer. Miyuki-chan is walking in front of me, so those footsteps I heard couldn't be hers. It must be my imagination. I said that to myself as I walked through the gate and entered the shrine grounds. Plop, plop, plop. Again. Miyuki-chan and I should be the only ones walking through the grounds. Then what on earth are these footsteps? The main shrine is up ahead. Ah, I see. So, there shouldn't be anyone over there, right? Let's give it a look to make sure. As Miyuki-chan said that, she turned and began walking toward the offering box. So I followed behind her. Plop, plop, plop. I began to feel frustrated that the constant footsteps seemed to mock me. It's probably just an echo. But even so, my mind focused behind me as I continued walking forward. It definitely felt like something was going on. Plop, 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 sploosh. Ugh. I stepped into a puddle. I wasted so much attention on what was happening behind me that I neglected the ground by my feet. Oh, how stupid of me. Huh? I sighed pathetically while turning my gaze down toward the puddle by my feet, and was suddenly startled. My feet were deep in a pool of blood. Oh, great. And beside my feet, is that a person lying there? It was a girl. The corpse of a young girl with her abdomen torn open was lying there, and her eyes looked like glass as they stared off vacantly. Her body was partially obscured by the shadows of crow feathers scattered around it. And then, all around me, I heard the sound of elderly people chanting a prayer. It's as if... Very reminiscent of the scene at the end of Tsuki Otoshi, but... Ryunosuke-san? Miyuki-chan turned back to me as soon as she noticed the commotion. What's wrong? Miyuki-chan, this is... This? Miyuki-chan quizzically turned her flashlight down toward my feet, but the only thing down there was a puddle. Yeah, he's seeing hallucinations that I'm guessing were caused by Hanyu, perhaps to show the truth of what's happening in the village. Or what happened in the village? I guess? Huh? The girl I saw lying there a moment ago was gone. I examined the puddle once more, and then the hem of my pants. My pants were plenty soaked, but it wasn't in blood. Ryunosuke-san, are you alright? Yeah. He lied, deliberately. The rain started coming down even heavier, and the raindrops vigorously slammed into the ground all around us. The cloud cover was so thick that the surrounding area was completely swallowed by the darkness. I couldn't see anything. I started to calm down and carefully trace my flashlight along my surroundings, but nonetheless, I couldn't see anything noteworthy. What's wrong, Ryunosuke-san? You look pale. It's nothing. I was just hallucinating. Hallucinating? Miyuki-chan seemed surprised and started intently surveying our surroundings. Do you think she would just brush that off? Oh, I was just, having hallucinations. It happens to everyone. No! But the pounding rain seemed to eliminate any indications. What kind of hallucination was it? A person? Or maybe... Oh, it's nothing. Sorry. It was just my imagination. Maybe a trace amount of light poured between the clouds and illuminated the shrine gate or something, and I caught its reflection in the puddle. But could that explain the red hue of blood? And what of the girl's corpse on the ground? Was it really a hallucination? Ryunosuke-san, is it normal for you to hallucinate like this? No way! My life isn't that messed up. Is that so? Well, it is a bit creepy. No shit. I struggled to find the words, so I couldn't say anything. But that vision I saw earlier may have stuck with me. Well, there's no sign of them. Uh-huh? Them? Oh, it's nothing. A moment after Miyuki-chan said that. Maybe they beat us here. A wicked smile floated across her face, and her eyes began to shine. Yeah, it's definitely Hinamizawa syndrome. What was that smile just now? I couldn't understand what Miyuki-chan was trying to say. And who was she talking about when she said them? I looked down at the puddle once more. No matter how I shined my flashlight on it, I couldn't see anything reflected in the water. Let's get going, Ryunosuke-san. Oh, okay. What was that smile earlier? It feels like strange things have started happening since we arrived in Hinamizawa. And those unfortunate events were what caused this change in her? But if that's the case, am I next? No way. Impossible. I started walking forward to shake off the ridiculous ideas running through my head. Ugh. Just then, I noticed a large broken lantern lying on the ground with some characters scrawled on the side. Wata Nagashi? It's a festival in Hinamizawa. Apparently they held the festival right here. Inside the shrine grounds, huh? I bet it was pretty lively back then. It seems like this was a publicly accessible location. This assembly hall was probably used for village events and classroom activities. Wow, I see. Though I said that, I wasn't particularly interested in Miyuki-chan's explanation. After all, I knew all that before coming here, so did we. Of course, it wouldn't be so strange for her to know something about this that I didn't know. It might be arrogant of me to say, but I did do a fair amount of research on Hinamizawa beforehand, and I'm proud of the information I managed to gather. So how could this woman named Miyuki Sorimachi have gathered so much information beyond what I could find? Moreover, Miyuki-chan described it in a way that seemed like a local describing current events. Like a resident of this village was giving a tour to a group of outsiders. Though I felt bad for doing it, I was gradually starting to feel suspicious of her. I still think she's totally a cop, but this wording makes me think that it isn't just that she did research on the village, because now if they're implying that he did, then there's probably something else at play. Like, I mean, if Hanyu exists, then it wouldn't be surprising if there was, like, a ghost, telling Miyuki shit. I wouldn't necessarily be telling, but, like, unknowingly possessing her. I have no fucking clue. Because I can't think of why she would have a history with the village. This isn't a character we know. Because the only other people who had a connection to the village who survived in any fragment were, like, Oishi, Akasaka, Tomatake always dies. Takano, I don't know what happens when she wins. Where does she go when she wins? Yeah, the only other people are, like, yeah, Oishi and Akasaka. I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. Wait! I'm so stupid! She's Akasaka's daughter, isn't she? The last name is different, but she's the same girl. Hold on. I need to... I'm not just misremembering, right? Hold on. I don't exactly remember the name of his daughter. He had a daughter, but I'm pretty sure she looked basically the same, right? Hold on. I'm Googling on my phone. Higurashi, Himatsubushi, CGs. There should be... Okay, yeah, 7th expansion wiki. There should be one of his daughter, Enrika, right? There should be one. And it would probably show her name there. This is probably something I was supposed to already know, but forgot because I'm stupid. Yeah, brown hair, purple eyes. That's totally her. That's totally her. It doesn't say the character's name. Okay, hold on. Back to Himatsubushi overview. Get rid of that fucking ad. Fandom websites are so bad. It should show somewhere Akasaka's daughter's name. Yeah, Miyuki Akasaka. Okay, no, I get it then. Yeah, because the reason her last name is different then. So she became a cop, I guess. And the reason her last name is different, she was saying, oh, I don't have a boyfriend, which means either I was right about her being a lesbian, or she has a husband. Either a wife or a husband, up for interpretation, y'all. And she changed her last name. That's the only explanation there. So then, yeah. And Akasaka and Himatsubushi was saying all this shit, like, seeing Rika in his daughter. So I think that's literally what's happening here, and that would explain why Hanyu's here too. Okay, I'm really fucking dumb, I'm sorry. I forgot she existed. Like, I know she existed, but I didn't put two and two together. I was just like, yeah, this is just some bitch. This is just some random woman. No, this is Akasaka's daughter. I was right. So, Arakawa's dad is an Akasaka, but he's totally still involved somehow, right? Yeah, because I completely forgot Akasaka had a kid. Despite the fact that and his wife, were really big parts of his character, whenever I think of Akasaka, I just think, oh yeah, Mahjong, and he beat up some dudes in Matsuri Bayashi. His daughter's just been a complete footnote character. Okay, yeah, that explains that. So that's the answer here. I don't know if that's something that we're supposed to put two and two together on right now, because the last name is different, but the first name is the same. Okay, yeah, I'm just slow on that. Very slow on the uptake. Alright. But now that we know that, or at least it's like a 95% chance, maybe it's a red herring, and this is just some other girl who happens to have brown hair and purple eyes. Alright, let's keep reading. Miyuki-chan finished making an offering, then began walking toward the assembly hall, leaving me behind. The assembly hall should be over this way. Yeah, this is totally her. She looks almost exactly the same. It's gotta be. What's wrong, Ryunosuke-san? Miyuki-chan, you know an awful lot about this village. I swear to fuck, if she says right now, oh yeah, my dad came here at one point, then I chose the best time to realize it, huh? Yeah, I guess. But it's all secondhand information, so I don't know it all that well. I mean, that works whether it's from Akasaka or Rika. How much of that was the truth? I felt like my heart was going to be crushed by the wave of doubt swelling inside. So I'm guessing this is like a post-Himatsubushi thing, right? Because there are arcs where Akasaka dies, right? Are there? Are there any fragments where Akasaka dies? Because he wasn't in Minagoroshi. I mean, aside from the one in Nekodamashi, which we won't talk about. I don't think he ever dies outside of Himatsubushi bad ends. Alright, well, whatever. Miyuki-chan and I came to a halt after walking around the corner. Lights are on. Even though there shouldn't be anyone in the assembly hall, I noticed the light leaking out through the front door. Someone's inside. Seems like it. Maybe it's the owner of the car we found earlier? Well, it might be. Miyuki-chan and I tried to assess the situation, but it was difficult to tell from here. I wonder, is this the same light I saw from the hill earlier? Probably. But isn't this one of the highest points in the village? You wouldn't be able to... How high was the hill you were on? The fuck? Maybe we should do some reconnaissance? Reconnaissance? Then are you saying we shouldn't go inside? Right, that way. Clatter. I heard something fall to the ground inside the assembly hall. And then a woman's voice, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Let's go. Go where? Inside the assembly hall. I don't think there's any harm in taking a quick peek. Miyuki-chan put a hand on the assembly hall door as she said that. So I quickly reached out and grabbed her hand. Wait a minute! Huh? What if it's a ghost? Are you prepared for that? Huh? Miyuki-chan let out a light sigh and looked at me. Then she gave me a bewildered look that clearly said, "What are you talking about?" Oh, I mean, oops. Anyway. Well, that certainly is a possibility. But we have to determine if it's a ghost or not somehow, don't we? Well, yes, but it's not that I'm not scared. I was just thinking we need to stay cautious and choose the best possible course of action here. Because I'm not afraid. I'm definitely not afraid. Yeah, the age timeline would match up with her too, right? Because I don't remember exactly when the ending of Himatsubushi happens. I think it's in 1983, right? And she's probably like 5 then. So 23 years later, she's in her upper 20s. Which is definitely something I can buy. If it's a ghost, I'll just have to take him down. Now, I'm opening the door. And if she's possessed by Rika also, that would explain why Arakawa thinks she's younger than she is, right? Like, if the ghost of a fucking 9-year-old was possessing you, you'd probably seem younger, right? Hey! However, my objections were completely ignored. Miyuki-chan was brave enough to slide the assembly hall door open in one quick pull. Creak. Ugh! That moment, I felt something jabbing into my throat. And the next moment, someone jumped in from the side and pushed me away. It was Miyuki-chan. As I staggered to regain my footing, I caught a glimpse of a kimono sleeve in front of me. Ow! Ugh. Oh, yep. That appears to be a Kane, if I had to guess. The age range seems like it'd match up here too. 50, 60-ish, something around that. I lightly rubbed my hip where I was hit. Then, your hip? I thought it was the throat. Whatever. Then a frightening look ran across my face as I realized what was happening. A woman in a kimono was standing in the shadow of the doorway, in a blind spot that couldn't be seen from the entrance. There was a magical atmosphere about her that didn't feel of this world. A ghost? The word came to mind, but I couldn't bring myself to speak it. Woman in kimono. She pointed the tip of a slender object straight toward Miyuki-chan. Was that what was pressed against my throat earlier? Miyuki-chan? Miyuki-chan was standing directly across from the woman and staring straight at her. Miyuki-chan and the woman continued their motionless confrontation for a while longer, and the woman was the first to open her mouth. Yeah, this is totally a Kane, actually, because she uses a sword, remember? Rarely, but she does. Who are the lot of you? Oh, her deep, powerful voice left me awestricken. Sorry, my brain wasn't working there. I shrank back. However, Miyuki-chan stood resolute and maintained her composure. Isn't it common courtesy to introduce yourself first in situations like this? Oh? You're nothing to be afraid of. Would you mind lowering that? After letting out a quick sigh, the woman pulled the slender object back and slid it under her armpit. Her sharp eyes darted back and forth between Miyuki-chan and me. Eventually, the tension in her face relaxed. I wonder what someone like you is doing here with a respectable young lady like her. What is that supposed to mean? The woman in the kimono didn't answer me. She simply chuckled to herself quietly. And Miyuki-chan seemed unstirred by this woman's perplexing reaction. Sorry for barging in so late, but we need to make a phone call. Would that be alright? Phone call? What a foolish thing to say. Did you really think there were working phones in this village? Where do you think you are? You must know Hinamizawa is a ghost town. That's true, but we thought it was worth a try. Sorry to disappoint. Well, I'm not actually sorry. The woman in the kimono had relaxed her tension enough to tease us in an affable tone. She was probably close to 40 years old. Really? Then that would mean Akane has teenage girls at 20, which means this is not Akane. Close to 40 years old. This is Mion, isn't it? Mion or Shion. It's probably Mion, though. Okay. Not what I expected. I figured... Damn, you did not age as well as your mom. Sorry to say, Mion. An inscrutable atmosphere emanated from her entire body, giving her an imposing, dignified presence. She had a lovely color to her skin, but her finely chiseled facial features had me feeling doubts about her background. Anyway, let's head inside. If you stay in a place like this dripping wet, you'll catch a cold. Miyuki-chan? In that case, thank you for the invitation. At the woman's request, Miyuki-chan and I walked into the assembly hall. I guess it wouldn't make that much sense for Akane to be loitering around Hinamizawa, right? The crumbling wooden frame of the assembly hall smelled faintly of mold. Rain and wind came blowing in through a broken window. Posters and papers were affixed to the pillars and walls here and there. Although it was difficult to make out, I could read the phrases Onigafuchi Guardians and Dam Opposition. According to newspaper articles and other sources I've read, there was a plan to construct a dam in this village a long time ago. The planned dam would have submerged Hinamizawa, but the strong opposition in the murder incidents caused the plan to be suspended. But that topic largely faded away after the Great Hinamizawa disaster. So that would mean this is a fragment where Mion survived? I mean, is this like post-Taraima Washi then? What is this? I imagine the villagers here sticking these posters to the wall as they discuss the dam construction project and their opposition plans. The struggles that occurred in the Showa era, like the labor striking movement, felt almost as distant as the Industrial Revolution or the dawn of civilization. It felt unnatural to step into a place littered with relics of another era. Somehow, it felt like I was stepping into another world. This way. As she said that, the woman in the kimono vigorously slid the door inside the hallway open. Who the fuck are these fools? Once I saw the assembly hall in front of me lined in tattered tatami mats, I let out a quiet "ah" in shock. I noticed a man in the room, staring at us with a stagnant look in his eyes. So the lady in traditional clothing wasn't the only one here. At any rate, standing around doing nothing wasn't helping anything, so I stepped one foot into the room, hoping to prompt Miyuki-chan to do the same. Good evening. Sorry for the disturbance. But Miyuki-chan, with her nerves of steel, stepped into the room and greeted everyone in a lively, cheerful voice that felt entirely out of place. And so, I reluctantly followed behind her. Inside the room, I noticed a young man around 20 years of age, and a young woman around the same age or a little older. And the two of them were staring at us like we were suspicious characters. Looking closer, there was one more man sleeping on a futon in the corner of the room. This is a lot of new characters, Jesus. Counting the woman in the kimono, there were 4 people here in total. They didn't stand up or return the greeting in any fashion. They simply continued staring vacantly at us, with their lifeless, ghostly eyes. Feeling creeped out, I quickly turned away, and was immediately startled. Oh, lovely. Contrary to her cheerful greeting, Miyuki-chan was monitoring the people in the room with a sharp, bloodthirsty glow in her eyes. Miyuki-chan... Maybe she noticed me staring. Miyuki-chan turned back to me with a bright smile. What on earth was that face just now? Everyone, I apologize for the interruption. We needed to make an important phone call, so we had to barge in. Would you forgive us? The assembly hall was in disrepair. The tatami mats were tattered and there were cobwebs stretched across all the furniture. Miyuki-chan scanned the interior of the room, then walked over to a public phone in a corner of the assembly hall. But when she got there, she let out a discouraging sigh. Looks like this is the only phone. Guess so. A vintage pink public phone was laying on the ground covered in dust, and the cord was cut. There was no point in lifting the receiver. It was clearly dead. Maybe there's another one? Unlikely. Just who were you trying to call? Actually, the police. Huh? There's some... These two have a really weird art style, I will say. Not weird, but it's very evidently different from all the rest of the sprites that they use in this, which confuses me. The moment Miyuki-chan said that, the two apathetic-looking people suddenly looked up and stared with attention. The police? Why? On the way here, we discovered several people dead. They were all seated in a car together. Huh. It can't be. Everyone in the room gasped in unison. Or, more accurately, all but one. The woman in traditional garb rose to her feet and stood with a piercing gaze in her eyes. Did you see it? See what? The corpses. Are they all really dead? Unfortunately, yes. I hesitated to talk about what I'd seen. Everyone inside, with their beautiful faces, they were all dead. What about it? Oh, no. I'm just not good with dead bodies, myself. I can't imagine anyone is. That's true. The young man let out a forced laugh, then looked down. Maybe it was just poor lighting, but his face looked pale. Where did you find it? The suicide cart. How does she know it? He just said they were all dead. Alright, so we've solved it. Yay, as if that isn't a fucking Among Us mystery. Jesus Christ. It wasn't far from here. Right, Miyuki-chan? Eh? Right. Miyuki-chan? Huh? Oh, we need to contact the police. Right away. Miyuki-chan's voice was unnaturally loud. Has Miyuki-chan been thinking about something completely different this whole time? Have you all tried your cell phones? We're out of range. Right, Ryunosuke-san? Right. I thought there might be a working phone somewhere in the village, so we came here looking for one. After Miyuki-chan said that, the young woman pulled out her cell phone and flipped the screen open. Her phone was on a different carrier, so I thought there might be a chance. But in the end, her phone was just as useless. The woman in the kimono pulled out a cell phone of her own and held it up to her ear to check, yo, me own phone. But after a while, she ended the call and shrugged her shoulders. Not surprising. After all, what would the phone connect to in a place like this? The young woman tried holding the phone at several different angles to get a better signal. But in the end, she shook her head and spoke up. Mine too. It's no good. We're out of range. Looking closer at the young lady, she was dressed in a fluffy balloon skirt made of light cotton. It's the kind of casual dress you'd wear in town on a date. She's probably wearing sandals or high heels that match, but I couldn't possibly see her wearing hiking boots with that. There were beer cans and snack bags scattered about in front of her. Was she drinking here with the man in the corner of the room and he fell asleep drunk? Going out on a date in a place like this? And not only that, but getting drunk? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's nothing. Then I noticed the young woman was glaring at me with an unpleasant expression. Maybe she noticed me staring at her. Then she quickly turned her gaze downward and reached for a bag of snacks on the floor. Beside her, the young man was sitting quietly and holding his knees, staring off at the tatami floor in the distance. How about you? Huh? Otobe, what happened? Oh, so that's his name? You look frightened. The woman in the kimono waved her cell phone about as she stared at the man she called Otobe. He shrugged his shoulders and muttered something in an apologetic tone. I'm sorry. I was just doing some thinking. Your phone, does it work? Can you connect? Right. Okay. Let me turn it on. Does it really make sense to have a cell phone if the power is off? That's, you're right. Yeah. I feel like it's pretty blatant what happened here. He stared at the woman in the kimono as he said that. Then the next moment he looked startled. Between that and the suicide car comment, if Miyuki's not actually a cop, I don't know how she doesn't pick up on that. I wonder what he saw. I turned to see what Otobe was looking at, but the woman in the kimono was in the shade, so I couldn't make out her face. So then why would Mion also be here? If this is Mion, it could be Shion. I'm trying to do like a more playful variant of that voice that I always use for middle-aged women of some sort of elegance. Hey, you. Sorry, my battery was running out, so I turned the power off. Otobe turned his back to me and blocked the display with both his hands to keep his phone hidden from me. Then he carefully operated the buttons while staring at the screen. There's no way your phone will connect this far in the mountains. Wouldn't it be better to travel to Okinomiya to talk to someone directly? Or maybe... My phone has 1 bar of signal. Seriously? I just realized how ironic it is that I ended up giving Arakawa the Akasaka voice when Miyuki ended up being Akasaka's daughter. Yeah, it looks good. If I move closer to the entrance, maybe I'll get a better signal. Otobe continued staring at his cell phone as he got up to leave the room. And all the while, Otobe avoided making eye contact with any of us. Eventually, I could hear his voice faintly echoing down the hallway. Hello? Is this the police? Yes, yes. Somehow his phone was able to connect. I think he's lying. Certainly seems that way. Miyuki-chan was staring intently toward Otobe. For some reason, she didn't look very happy. Yeah, I think we're getting tricked. Was there something troubling about the fact that his phone was able to connect? Yeah? Miyuki-chan? Then I noticed that the woman in the kimono was also staring in Otobe's direction as well, with an equally harsh look on her face. And then, Otobe's voice came echoing throughout the assembly hall. In Hinamizawa, yes? A group suicide. I heard it from someone else, so I don't know all the details. Yes? Yes? Maybe Otobe was growing uncomfortable with all of us staring at him. He turned completely away from us, bowed down, and began to lower his voice. Anyway, now that he managed to connect, everything's gonna be alright. I hope so. What was that? Miyuki-chan's words seemed to have some hidden subtext. Was it just my imagination? The next moment, I heard Otobe shouting, "Ah!" What's wrong? My phone. The battery just ran out. I'm sorry. Otobe looked upset as he said that, while walking into the room with his cell phone in hand. There definitely wasn't anything displayed on his phone screen. If he was hiding his phone the whole time, then he probably didn't even have it on, right? Even so, you were able to tell the police at least part of the situation. The police will probably be able to piece it together. That's right. Otome's eyes started shaking erratically as he said that. Does this guy suffer from intense social anxiety? Or maybe. I mean, it can, yeah, but if he actually had intense social anxiety, I don't think he'd be so willing to call the police. But then, at the same time, if his phone's the only one that works... I'm just saying this based on my own social anxiety and what I would do in this situation. I'd probably still make the call and be really skittish about it, even if I wasn't, you know, very obviously the person who caused the quote-unquote group suicide thing. So now, our only means of contacting the outside world has been cut off. Well, we shouldn't move around much in the middle of the night. So, let's just relax and wait for the police to arrive. I suppose so. Miyuki let out an exasperated sigh as she came back to the room. As I went to take a seat on the tatami mat, the young woman in the balloon skirt moved to the side to clear a space. Miyuki-chan took a seat next to her. At any rate, it's rather odd for there to be 5 people in a village that should be uninhabited. Then let us spend this evening together in this village where only the dead dwell. The woman in the kimono grabbed her long, rod-shaped object wrapped in cloth and held it under her arm. Then she grabbed a bottle of sake, opened the cap, and held it up. With nothing better to do, I grabbed a sake glass and held it up to receive some, but she quickly swept my hand away. Huh? This is for the young lady. She looked straight at Miyuki-chan as she said that. I don't trust that either. Her eyes had an imposing presence. If she says, oh, I prefer wine actually, I'm gonna laugh so much. Thank you. A courageous grin floated to Miyuki-chan's face as she received a glass of sake and took a sip. Okay, I'm shocked she actually would. Miyuki-chan? Thank you for the hospitality. You look like you know how to handle your drink, huh? Yes, thanks. Let me return the favor. Miyuki-chan poured another glass of sake and held it out to the woman in the kimono. Please. If you went to all the trouble, I'll have to oblige. The woman in the kimono graciously accepted the glass offered to her. Can you hold your liquor? Not as well as you. Well, the night is young. It may seem long, but not that long. Yeah, I feel like this is more likely Mion, right? The woman in the kimono's sharp eyes looked like they could see through anything. It felt like her eyes were trying to learn something from Miyuki-chan. But Miyuki-chan wasn't fazed by the woman's gaze. She was confronting her face to face. What's the deal with this woman? Why is she so concerned with Miyuki-chan? And Miyuki-chan is acting the same. It's like the two of them are old acquaintances. I'm so fucking right. Oh, Ryunosuke-san. I'll go get our luggage from the car. You can stay here, Miyuki-chan. I'll handle the luggage. That's alright. There's a lot of luggage, and I'm sure you won't be able to tell which are proper luggage and which are camping equipment. So I'll be going then. Miyuki-chan gently smiled to the woman in the kimono, then quickly rose to her feet. And then she stormed out of the room in a hurry. Miyuki-chan was keeping secrets from me. I was fairly convinced of that. However, I had no idea what they might be. And I had no idea why the woman in the kimono was so interested in Miyuki-chan, despite allegedly meeting her for the first time today. We're in an abandoned village, where all the villagers perished in the disaster. The odds of running into someone you know in a place like this are slim. Moreover, what are the odds that a freelance writer from Tokyo would be acquainted with this creepy woman in a kimono at all? I can't say that it's impossible, but the probability seems quite low. And what's more, even if the two of them are acquainted, they're not speaking to each other as such. So what on earth is going on? On top of that, I'm starting to doubt that Miyuki-chan is a freelance writer at all. He's starting to get there. Then for now, why don't you all introduce yourselves? The woman in the kimono looked directly at me as she asked that. The others followed her lead and started looking at me, like they were all just waiting for me to speak up. Who, me? That was sudden. Shouldn't we go in order? We all arrived here earlier, but not all of us know everyone's names. The young woman in the balloon skirt and the young man named Otobe stared vacantly at me. And after their gazes fixated on me, I finally realized, that's it. These people have no light in their eyes, like ghosts who've lost their souls. What's wrong? Please hurry up. And so, at the woman in the kimono's urging, I took a deep breath. Who are these people? I grabbed a can of beer off the floor, pulled the tab, and took a big gulp. The beer was lukewarm, and one of the most disgusting things I've ever tasted. Chapter split. Okay. So I have no idea, like, what the entire purpose of Pinky and Otobe are, but we'll call them Pinky and Toby, actually. I think that fits better. Oh, great. Tips. We'll do them this episode. Why not? I have no idea how long this arc will be, and if Suki Otoshi was anything to go by, I shouldn't assume that next episode will be short, you know? Long-awaited trip. He stayed home all day that day, laying on the tatami floor, occasionally looking out the window or messing with his cell phone, not doing much of anything. He wasn't drinking alcohol like usual, but that didn't mean things were safe. So, after finishing the dishes, I carefully chose my words and decided to speak with him. Yai, okay. Takumi-kun? He responded in a weak voice without turning around. I was a little disappointed that he didn't turn around, but no, it's better this way. These days, it's been painful seeing him face to face. Is this Pinky? I'm guessing this is Pinky and Blondie, right? Pinky and Toby?
Well, I borrowed a magazine from a coworker yesterday, and it had an article about a place called Hinamizawa. It was closed off after a disaster a long time ago, but they recently reopened it. So, people say it's a frightening place and try to avoid it, but in reality it's a nice quiet place surrounded by nature. The scenery is wonderful, and it's far less crowded than the major tourist attractions. Plus, the fresh air is delicious.
Oh, I see.
Takumi-kun, you told me that before you like places in nature without a lot of people, right? And I have a long holiday coming up next week, so I was thinking we could go together? I think it'll make for a really nice change of pace. Don't you think so?
The next moment, his body suddenly started to rise up. When I saw it, I immediately held my breath and started to brace myself.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to force something on you, Takumi-kun.
Driving.
Huh?
Are we taking your car? Then it's fine.
Yeah.
After hearing that, I was able to release a little of the tension and catch my breath. Then he got up, walked right past me, slipped on his shoes, and went off somewhere. They didn't explicitly state that this is Otobe, so who knows. Yeah, let's go. To Hinamizawa. Okay. There is also the guy in the corner. I'm assuming this Yai person is Pinky. That's what makes most sense to me. The pink name. That usually implies they're an important character, so that's my guess. A familiar face. So that Takumi guy is either Otobe or the guy in the corner. Where did I lose the way? I really did get myself lost in a completely unknown world. Okay, now we're in Otobe. I'm guessing that means that other guy is Takumi. Hinamizawa Village. This place became an abandoned ruin after the gas disaster over 20 years ago. After that, everyone was afraid of the mysterious incidents and rumors. Nobody ever goes anywhere near nowadays. It's a ghost town that they even took off the maps. That's right. There's nobody here. That should be. And yet... What? Up ahead, there was a person dressed in a morning kimono, holding up an umbrella, dripping wet in the middle of the pouring rain. She had a mysterious aura, somewhere between the living and the dead. And I could see a long, slender, cloth-wrapped object bouncing around attached to her back. A pipe? A wooden sword? Or maybe an actual sword? I swallowed my spit and quickly started to lose my resolve. Even from behind, I could tell she was suspicious. I felt the danger in the air. Apparently ghosts appear here. As I remembered the words I said myself earlier, a chill ran through me and I began to tremble. What should I do? Even though it's abnormal for another person to be in a place like this, what can I do? Should I say something, or... Just then, the woman in the kimono started walking in the opposite direction of where I stood. When I saw that, I started to panic and suddenly called out, "Wait!" She stopped as requested, but her back was still turned. I could feel the sharp tension coming from behind her back. Bloodlust. Whatever. It's do or die! Since escape was no longer possible, I decided to step forward and speak up. I came here to do some sightseeing, but I got lost, and, if you don't mind, could you point me in the direction of the nearest town? Town? I could hear her exhale through her nose, like she was laughing at me. And then, you want to know where to find other people? It's in the direction I'm walking away from. Even someone unfamiliar with the area like yourself might be able to make it there by dawn. Huh? Although, you might get lost in Yoigoshi along the way. It wasn't much of an answer, but for now, it was a relief just to hear anything at all. Thank goodness. Looks like she's a human, not a ghost. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it if you showed me the way. Be serious. I have business to attend to. I'm not here to be your guide. Personal business is one's own business. If you want to leave this village, you'll have to put forth the necessary effort. In short, you'll have to give it everything you've got on your own if you wish to get out of here. In other words, she wouldn't be able to do it. So, am I going to be lost here all night? Where are you going? I have something to take care of at the Furude Shrine up ahead, and... Huh? Satoko? Or something? The next moment, she casually turned around to face me eye to eye, and then her eyes suddenly opened wide. And then she fixated on my face as she moved in for a closer look. Or probably more likely Satoshi? Satoshi? Yep, that is what she's saying. Huh? I didn't know how to respond to a name I didn't recognize. When she said the name, Satoshi, was she talking about me? Satoshi, is it you? Huh? No. Actually, my name is Akira. Akira? That's right. Akira Otobe. I thought it was a case of mistaken identity, so I panicked and said my name again. After hearing that, she quietly gazed at my face for a while, and then she let out a lonely-sounding laugh. Oh, my mistake. I must say, though, I'm surprised. After all, you look just like an old friend of mine. I suppose it's what they call an accidental resemblance. Really? Even though you're a different person, it's still a treat to see such a familiar face while coming to this village after such a long time. I thought you might have been a ghost. I doubted my eyes. Right. It's surprising enough to run into another person in this ghost town, but for it to be someone who looks just like Satoshi, that's one hell of a coincidence. Yeah, that's absolutely Mion. One hell of a coincidence. Shion doesn't talk like that. She smiled while carefully watching me with her arms crossed. Plus, Shion would cry. Though she was smiling, she stared straight at me with a sharp gaze in her eyes, and it made me flinch. That's fine. It must be fate. I'm sure you don't want to be out in the rain until morning, so would you care to come with me? Is that alright? It doesn't matter. I asked if you'd like to come with me. Don't answer a question with a question. The rest depends on what you want, doesn't it? Oh, definitely. Please, let me come with you. I'm saved. Felt like I was about to burst into dance as I nodded to her over and over. After seeing that, the woman smiled and nodded, then started walking again. If it's like the old days, there should be some blankets in the assembly hall. Your jacket is dripping wet, so it'd be best to dry off there. Of course, it's been over 20 years since then, so there's a chance the roof has collapsed and the tatami mats have gone rotten. Did you live in this village? Oh, that's right. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Mion. Mion Sonozaki. I knew it. It's just as you suspect. I'm a resident of this village. Wow. Alright, cool. I wasn't expecting it to be Mion. I mean, after they said, like, nearly 40, I was like, yeah, it's totally Mion, but still. Damn. She really didn't age that well. Sorry to say, Mion. Alright, I guess that's where we're gonna end this episode. This arc is something. I'm not really sure what to make of it so far, but we're probably not even halfway done if I had to guess, so... We'll see as we go, I guess. Either way, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye! Yeah!